Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to We're All Fine. As ever, this is your host, Holly, and with me, thank goodness, is my co-host, Carly. Hi, Carly.
Hi, Holly. Thank you. That was very nice. I feel very needed right now, and I like that.
Well, you know, this is some of my favorite time when I get to just kind of sit and chat with you when we record. I just love it so much.
Aww, stop. Don't.
Plus, you
Don't
didn't say
stop.
you didn't say anything, but I'm pretty sure like my tummy was grumbling and I was afraid it was coming through the microphone.
Oh, I didn't hear it, but I
Oh.
also feel like your stomach should be allowed to say things if it needs to.
No, my stomach is not a guest on the show. It does not get to say anything. Shut up right now. We decided this week, here's the thing. Carly, I was telling you, I just got back from a trip
Mhm.
to California and it was beautiful and it was gorgeous.
Mm.
And weirdly, I was in San Diego, so we didn't hit the heat wave.
Thanks,
It
Mother
was
Nature.
gorgeous, but I was all around and all I could see were these like really beautiful California people all over each other. And it was really clear that was a first date. These were not like long-term married folks. And I realized, you know, you and me, we've had one bad date episode,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe people think we've just had just one or two ever bad dates.
Well,
I know that is pretty funny.
that would be a lie.
I figure today we need to get back on that bad date conversation wagon because I need you guys to know there've been a lot bad dates, bad relationship moments,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
all of that joy and spiciness that I saw in San Diego. I'm not cool with that being the norm. Nope. Nope. I'm just gonna I need to let out let out all of this angst I've been holding for
we're
20 years.
No, honestly, you're allowed to. You're allowed
Thanks.
to. I think after you've been in a relationship for a little while, you are able to recognize that like way faster, right?
Mhm.
And you can tell if a person has never seen what their partner looks like while pooping. You can tell when somebody doesn't know how badly their partner puts dishes in the dishwasher.
Mhm. Yeah.
It comes with time and it makes you love them more. And it also makes you think of all of the different ways that every true crime show has taught you all you need to know if you just paid attention.
It's so
But,
true.
but I don't know. I said it on our last one. I love love. I love the idea of love. But for a really long time, you would have thought that my hobby was just finding someone that I was the least compatible with that I didn't like very much and deciding that they were going to be my boyfriend or girlfriend. Like that was my bread and butter. If you are a douche, we have nothing in common. We are completely polar opposites. That felt like the field of red flags I could frolic through until I was ready to like pick one of them to leave.
I like that. My field of red flags was the field that was just filled with birds, broken wings, just everywhere. Just a giant
Oh,
field of like sick birds that all needed to be nursed back to health. And I was the only one that could fix them. These poor birds.
yep.
So red
Yep.
flags and broken birds.
Red flags and broken birds. Honestly, if we ever write a book about our like combined dating experience, that's what we'll name it. I have shared some things with friends and therapists about my dating life, and they have all told me that if I put it in a coffee table book, they would buy it. So that is my retirement plan because none of it's made up. You know how like friends will sit around circles and they'll be like, "Oh, I had this bad date once." And then another one is like, "Oh, I had a bad date." And it's like that episode of Parks and Rec where Leslie Knope is talking to her best friend Anne, I think. And Anne is like, "Well, like, tell me about the worst date you've ever had," or something like that. And she's like, "Well, this, that, and the other thing," and gives these ridiculous things that have absolutely happened. And I sat there and I was like, "Oh, she's one of my people." Like, I have ruined many a first date, many a 3-year in date. I'm not good at it. But like always, I like to remind everyone to put things into perspective, that it could always be worse. So I found this one on Reddit, and I think it's supposed to be like Super Saiyan Goku, but it's Super Saiyan Oku. So they said probably not the worst, but the most recent. Went on a date, thought we hit it off, kisses and making out. So far, so good. She asked me to come to a bar near her place for drinks next time, over an hour of travel. When we sit down, she says she wants to be friends and thought it is nicer to tell me in person. And I said, "How is making me drive an hour away after just one date during rush hour nicer than a simple text?" And she said, "I thought you might like to see me."
Well, here's the thing. I'm I'm gonna applaud her confidence
Mm,
because she was like,
yes.
"You know what? I wanna be friends, but also I'm gonna give you a chance to look at all of this."
Right.
So that was like, good for her. Good for her. However, I I'd be a little I'd be a little miffed.
See, I don't know why people ask people out on dates to end relationships, break up with them, or anything. I know this isn't a popular opinion. I would rather be broken up with through email. Everybody's there like, but you deserve so much more respect. Hear me out. You might be in the bathroom going potty and you got broken up with. So now you're in a bathroom. If you cry, you already have tissues. If you're sitting on your couch, hanging out with some friends, and all of a sudden you get this random text message or email that's like, "Hey, we're not working out. I'm not really interested, but I hope you do well in life." You already have friends with you. If you're at work, you have things to occupy yourself with. The worst thing you can do is bring someone into a situation that they have no idea that something is coming, make them sit with you while they're like breaking your heart or making you sad or rejecting you, and then being like, "Cool, you want to split a carbonara?" Like, it's so fucked. I would rather not. Like, nope. I would much rather a text or an email breakup. 100%.
I agree with you up to a point. I think that there's gotta be an amount of time where that switches. So if we've gone on a few dates and then you're like, "Listen, this
Yep.
is not working out," great, text me, email me. I'd rather just avoid the awkwardness. Just that's cool. Like, I get it. If we've been together for like 6 months and, we've had a real intimate, and I mean 6 months or more, and we've had, like, a very intimate relationship by this point, and then you text me with, like, I don't think this is gonna work. Have a good one." I'm really I'm very uncomfortable with that. Like, if any part of you has been inside me, and I mean,
Mm,
like,
mhm.
really at this point, like, I really mean, like, we've had a heavy makeout session even at that point, I'm gonna need something a little bit more than peace, like, I need a little I'm gonna
Really?
need something. Yeah.
See, the only person I would want to, like, break up with me in person would be my husband because I think I could convince him to stay. Everybody else, I would have been just fine, like, just fine.
To be
I
fair, though, you just said that the people you picked in the past, you were purposely picking as
That's true. I've been very clear that I am not qualified to give anyone advice in life ever. However, I'll still do it because that's the person I am. My 2 cents has never stayed in my pocket. But, like, wouldn't you rather just not have to sit at an Olive Garden and, like, be awkward around breadsticks?
I am a person for a long time in my early dating years, my way of dealing with vulnerability was just not to have any. So I was "Oh, I feel it coming, so I'm gonna break up with you before you break up with me because I don't wanna be that person that's on the receiving end of that." To a point where it became really I don't know that I guess what I'm saying is if I met me then, today,
Mhm.
I would probably wanna kick me's ass.
Mm,
There was a time I was in a relation I don't even wanna say it was a relationship. I had been dating this guy for probably about a month. I was in college, and he was he was a sweet dude. He was definitely not my type in any way at all.
mhm.
He was kind of reserved. He kind of came across to everybody else, like, if he was a dog, he would be a Doberman, but in private, he was like a lap puppy. Like,
Mm.
I mean, he had, like, the most adorable nicknames for me that I mean, like, precious, not condescending, just he really was like a total teddy bear, and that he was
Yeah.
just really, like, quiet and gruff to everybody else because that was, his way of dealing with it. So we had this, like, it was fun, it was great, but I was not as engaged in it as he was, and I made that really clear up front because, again, my defense for being
Yep.
vulnerable, was I was right up front, like, "Listen, before we start dating, I want you to know, like, I'm seeing other people. I'm not doing we're not doing the monogamy thing because, I'm not interested in being serious right now."
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Right. However, the way that I treated the relationship was more like
You're my
we were an
boyfriend.
exclusive relationship. Okay. So, through a very unfortunate set of events, he ends up at a Waffle House with like 3 or 4 of the other people I had gone on dates with at the time. It was really I didn't think they were in the same friend group, but they were. And also, well, some of you might be asking, "So she's dating people that all hit up the Waffle House?" Yeah, bitches, I dated a lot of people that would end up at the Waffle House because we were in college. We're all
Yeah,
broke.
you're
So,
supposed to. Mine was IHOP, okay?
thank you.
It's Waffle House just with a couple more teeth. Like, don't be
Exactly.
judgy.
So he ends up at this Waffle House with, like, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 of the people I had been on a few dates with at the time, and they all start talking. Worst nightmare moment because they all start sharing
Yeah.
stuff. Now, I am at this time, it was lucky for me, I hadn't slept with any of these people.
Oh, good. Okay, good,
Well,
good.
let me clarify that. I
Oh, okay. I don't know how to take that kind of
I okay.
pause.
I had not had intercourse with any of these people.
Got it.
Okay, great.
Got it. Okay.
So, at least there was no, like, note comparing in that
Yeah.
situation. So, he finds out about this, and he's so upset, and he calls me, and he is just like, "We're done. I'm done with
Mm.
you. I thought that we had this thing. It's over. It's over." I felt so out of control.
Yeah.
How is this person breaking up with me? This is not okay, and really, it would have been better if we had just broken up, but I couldn't let that happen.
Yep.
So, I flipped the switch, and I said, "I I can't believe that you would let something as insignificant as me going on a few dates with people ruin what we have. I guess you're just not the man I thought you were."
Holly.
Yes. Do you see what I'm talking about? I dislike me then. So
You fucking mastermind. You dirty
that's
little
right. It's
dog.
horrible. It's horrible. And he
Yes.
felt so bad. He showed up at my door with flowers and an apology
Mm.
for breaking up with me for me seeing other people. And I went, "All right, well, I guess I can let it go this time."
Mm.
I know.
Mm.
Horrible. I'm mad at myself.
Right. Okay. So my out loud voice that other people will hear, like, yes, that was very cruel of you. That was not okay. Like, you cannot gaslight people. You cannot hurt people. You cannot manipulate people in such a distasteful way. That's super icky, Holly.
It's terrible. I
And then my
know.
inside voice is like, you fucking go. You fucking did it. You were upfront and honest. That's his fault. He had big feelings and you won. You owe him nothing. Like, way to
Well,
go.
I ended up breaking up with him like a week later.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
I
Oh,
was
that's
just like,
mean.
"Man," I was like, "I just don't think this is working out, but it's cool. We're not, like, serious, so it's cool." Oh god.
Oh,
And
you
he
it
did not take it
mm,
well. It is no surprise he is probably one of the one of the very few exes who never talked to me again.
mm.
Yeah, I didn't handle that one real well.
Well, see, we've talked about that before. I don't talk to any of mine. Like, mine is like a one of my friends one time, a long time ago, said the most beautiful thing about me. But then also when she started explaining it, it didn't feel as beautiful. She was like, Carly, and this was back when I was like young, dumb, and ready to mingle, would say to me, Carly, you go through life like fire. It takes nothing but a spark, and then you are in it and you are flying through. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And that, but she kept talking and she was like, and then the fire goes out and the whole field of crops is ruined. She's like, every bridge is gone. Like, you just do it. And it's super true because just like you, vulnerability, I am learning is very hard for me. And I'm also really good at making people feel like I'm being vulnerable because I can tell them things about me that other people would maybe have a hard time saying out loud, but they don't affect me. So now we're on the same level. Oh my gosh, I've shared and opened. Now you're going to open to me, and then I don't have to like expose myself, right? Did that
Yep.
in every relationship ever. Super good at it. My therapist is helping me with learning that, like, that's okay, right? And to be vulnerable and the power of it. RuPaul has told me for years, and I'm like, bitch, I'm vulnerable. I am here. And then when you actually look at it, you're not, right?
But it's better when you have someone that you're actually paying by the hour to
Mm,
listen to you when
yeah,
they tell you. I
that's
mean,
true.
RuPaul holds all of the knowledge, I think, of the universe, but
I think so.
RuPaul's giving it to us for free.
No, that's true. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah. Hmm. Thank you for putting that into perspective. If we're gonna talk about times that we're assholes, I thought we were gonna like dog on other people today. I wasn't ready for this, but
Haha, surprise.
I have lots of like I'm an asshole moments. So I met this guy. Dating websites always scared me. It was like a mutual friend of a mutual friend, but it was kind of a blind date. And we meet at Starbucks and he's really cute, but definitely not my type. At this point, I think I was rebounding, if I remember my timeline correctly. And he was a really sweet guy. Like, he, on paper, he was everything that you would look for if you were a girl who just got burned by some loser, like white guy with dreads that was like wanted to focus on his Tool cover band. We'll get there another day.
Oh, I
And
remember you talking about Tool cover band guy.
oh, yeah, he's there. But anyways, so when you're wanting to like have that safety, right? So he was the youth pastor at his church and he had a great job at one of the cellular please Verizon AT one of those. And he had been really heavy his entire life and he had lost a lot of weight and so didn't have a lot of confidence in his new body but was proud of himself and so he was very soft. He was in his soft guy era, you know? And I was like, "Oh my god. You were just so cute and so sweet." And he had roommates and they were all nice and so at first, like, again, remember I go through life like fire. So our first date was like 9 hours. We sat at Starbucks
Wow.
until they closed, laughing, joking, not a minute of awkward silence. It was great, right? And he's like, "Hey, do you want to come back to my place?" And I was like, "Nope, never on a first date. Like, you could be a murderer. No way." So we ended up doing something else. I think we sat in my car for a little bit. I don't remember. And then the second, like literally the next day, he was like, "Can we hang out again?" And it wasn't love bomby. It was genuine. It was fucking genuine. He was just a really nice guy. And so I was like, yeah, of course, like for sure. So we hang out again. And my rule has always been you don't get to touch me on the first date. No hug, no anything. Because, like, you can't put your hand on my leg, nothing. Because if you can deal with that the first date without any sort of anything, then I feel safer engaging. It's not an expectation from you, and you deal with the cold shoulder. Basically date two is like whatevs. But this time I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it on the second date. No way, no way. So he left my house that day and then 15 minutes later called and was like, "Hey, you wanna hang out? It's our third date." So cute, right?
Oh
So
my
cute.
god, that's adorable.
So anyway, so he helps me move because I go between apartments. He meets my friends, and the whole time, like the fire is burning, right? I'm just like, oh my god, he's so great. But then I learned now I know the term. The youths say that you got the ick.
Oh, mhm.
I didn't have that terminology, right? But one day he was at my apartment and I'm cooking us dinner and we're watching a movie and it was like a fraternity moment where there was like a very uncomfortable initiation thing that somebody had to do.
Oh, okay.
And he thought it was so funny. And I was like, that's so uncomfortable. Like, oh, this is not as good as you think it is. And I instantly, my brain, like that fucking fire just extinguished into nothing.
That
And I was
happens like that.
oh my god, it was so bad, like, instantly. And he was like, "I wanna stay tonight." And I was like, "Oh god." So I did the worst thing ever. I was like, "Okay, I'm desperate because I still really like you and you're a really nice guy. So let's be together. But in order for us to be together, I need you to open up to me. I need to know who you really are." And I was hoping that that was going to make me, like, what I now would know was like a trauma bond or like not positive, like to build a relationship off of. But I was like, just tell me who you are. Tell me a secret you've never told anybody. Like, let's get deep, right? And he told me a secret I'll never tell anybody else. And in that moment, it did work for a second. I was like, oh my God, you are a person again. Like, you're not just like this weird man baby that's like on my couch. That's like, and is gross. Then there was this other cute guy that got in my DMs, and we were never official. So after he like poured his heart out and stuff to me, which was really wrong, I just like ghosted him. And
You
then
didn't.
I did. I've ghosted a lot of people. I know it's terrible. I'm working on it. I'm aware. Every person I've ever ghosted, I'm very sorry. You deserved better. It's my like something I do. And so I ghosted him, and then like 2 days later, hot guy was in my DMs. And we had known each other from high school before. And so he was like, hey, can I come over? And I was like, yeah. So we went out to dinner and we were going back to my place. And on my front step from this very nice man, there is Dutch Brothers coffee and a bouquet of flowers. Oh, this is so bad. And hot dude is there. And he's like, oh, like, what are these? And I was like, oh, it must be for my neighbor. She's a single girl too. And we stepped like right over it and just like went into my apartment and closed the door.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened. I know. I know. Like mine isn't even like a ooh, you bad bitch. Like look at you getting back, played the game. Like mine is just like you're an asshole and I'm aware.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I think hindsight is 2020. And when you look back on that, it's so much easier to armchair quarterback, right? To all of a sudden go, well, you should have A, B, C, and D, right?
Yeah.
But we all know there's just, especially early on in our life when we're trying to navigate, make these right decisions. And when the easiest thing is like, well, just have a discussion. We didn't know that then. Are you kidding
Nope.
me?
Right.
And to even know yourself well enough to go, here's what I was doing and here's why I was doing it. Unfortunately, this happens all the time. And I think that this is what sets up a lot of these kind of unfortunate stereotypes around the nice guy. Girls don't like nice guys. We do, actually. I married a nice guy,
Yep.
right?
Mine too. Me
Like,
too.
nice guys are the best. I love them. But especially early on, it comes down to you accept the love you think you deserve. And so
Mhm.
for a lot of women, the love we think we deserve is the stuff that is just it's not good for us.
No,
It's
it's
just not.
trash. It's
And so when
trash.
someone is offering us something that is better, we don't know how to accept it. And in your case, this was someone who maybe just there was something that it may not have even been him, like, enjoying this moment from a film. It
Yeah.
says a lot about a person, and that was a click for you of, like, maybe needing to talk about this, like, there's something here that's not working for me.
Yep.
And sure, as adults, handling that differently, when you get to a certain point, sure, it's totally easy to go, "Oh, yeah, well, here's the easy way to handle that."
Here's what.
Then you did exactly what was right for you at that time.
It's true. It's true. I felt bad. And all of a sudden, that like vicious little monster in me is like wanting to still justify it, right? Like, I know that I handled the situation terribly. There was one time after we played Scrabble that I was sitting on him and he like kind of caressed my body really nicely. And he was like, God, I love your body. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Cause I've always had like self esteem issues. And he goes, yeah, when I was fat, I could only get with fat chicks. So this is awesome. Right. See? So he deserved it. See? Thank you. I justified it and I feel better. That's terrible. But I didn't even think about like at the
Okay, whoa,
time.
whoa, before you go, I need to back up a little bit. When you said playing Scrabble, I thought you meant the game, but then I wondered because you said you were on him, and I mean, is Scrabble a euphemism for something that
Yeah,
I'm
we used it the other day in our spooky episode. Like, get your shoes on, Kevin. Get the fuck out.
Oh, got you.
So
Right.
now I've decided that Scrabble is the way to go because you know you like throw stuff, you shake it, and you know. Oh,
Got
that's
you.
Yahtzee. I don't know if I've ever played Scrabble. Clearly, I was busy doing other things,
Got you.
but
Got you. Scrabble. Obviously, like his moment with the film, there's stuff, right? That's the
there's stuff in there.
stuff that's like it's not working one way or another.
It's true.
That's just you
You're such a
can't
good friend. You're such a good
no,
friend.
Carly, it's just knowing that all of us have done stuff that we look back on and we're like, "Damn it, younger me."
Mm.
In this case, oh, I really hope he's not listening. So, there was a situation where I'd really liked this guy. This was really early on in college. I think, like, that might have been, like, first week. I meet this guy. He's awesome. He's an older dude in the program that I'm in, and he asked me out, and I thought, "Great, we're gonna go on this date."
Right.
And the day before the date happens, he calls to break it off because one of my friends, who I've now made at this time, just broke up with her long term boyfriend. And he said, he's always been in love with her. This is his chance. He doesn't want to mess it up by going on a date with me. Right. Okay. So
My jaw is literally hitting my boobies. Like it is dropped.
at the time, I was so upset. And I should have just let it go and been like, "Pfft, all right, well, glad that didn't happen. Moving on." But
Right.
instead, it was a power piece. Like,
Yep.
I didn't like feeling out of control. So here's what I did instead. I went, "No problem. I'm hoping it goes well for you. Just hit me up if anything changes." And he did. And he came to me and he said, "I feel really bad for what I did." And because lo and behold, she did not want to be with him. Shocking. And
Weird.
I know. So he said, "I'd really try again." I went, "Oh, you bet. Absolutely." Knowing full well what I was going to do because younger me was holding on to some real anger. I said, "Yeah, let's do it." He took
Sure.
me out. It was a really nice date. And I did with him what I did with, at the time, everyone I went on a date with, because I just wanted to clear the air. Right at the beginning, I said, "Just listen, so I've been holding on to my V card. It's not any religious reasons, not anything. I'm waiting to meet the right person." I was not explicit at the time that I was real specific. This is a small thing. I was really kind of like holding on to, like, just that one
That
thing I don't do,
sliver.
but
Yep.
everything else, but that's not what I said. I just said, "Okay. So if that is what you're expecting, we should probably end this now because that's not really in the cards."
Right.
Well, somehow for a lot of men, that ends up being like, "Oh, awesome," because
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna they're gonna be that guy. Like, they're gonna go for the gold. Like, that's the thing. So, oh yeah.
Yep.
So he says what all of them say, which is like, "Oh yeah, no problem. I'm all like, this is great. No problem.
I
I'm good."
respect you.
Totally.
Yep.
So, and I'm like, "Oh, great date. Everything's awesome." The end of the night, because we've been friends, we've gotten to know each other prior to this. We're kind of making out. And then I just stop right in the middle as things are getting like real hot and heavy. And I go, oh, I wish I could do more. But all I can think about is what happened the first time we tried to go out. And I just don't feel like I can trust you. I'm sorry. And he goes, "Oh my god, yeah, I could totally understand. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what? And I get it. We're gonna work to go better." I go, "Gosh, that would be great. I want to be able to trust you. It's just hard." So he dropped me off, and I'd smile. And then he'd ask to take me out again, and it'd be a really nice date. And I'd be like, "Yeah." And this time I'd let it get just a little bit further. And then I'd go, "Oh God, I can't. I'm sorry." Just keep thinking about any moment you could just stop this. So this happened a few times. And I just kept doing it every time.
I cannot like so listeners can't hear me. My face, like literally, I look like someone just told me Santa is real. Like I'm like,
No, this is so I'm
oh,
so embarrassed. And honestly,
fuck
listen, you can't
him.
see me. My face is so red right now. I'm so embarrassed by my actions. I
You
literally would
did
wanna kick
nothing
my own
wrong.
ass. I am such a terrible human at the
You did
time. I'm
nothing
trying to be
wrong.
better. Anyway, it finally got to the point, this has now happened, I don't know, probably a half a dozen times at this point, that I have turned him into just a nervous wreck. So he shows up at this point, it's Valentine's Day, and he's like almost shaking when he's around me because he's so nervous that he's gonna mess up and like he can barely talk. He's like sweating profusely. It's a mess. It's a mess. And at this point, I've seen what I'm doing and I'm feeling terrible about it. So that was the day. Unfortunately, Valentine's Day. It was just bad timing. It was bad timing at that point, but
Holly, when
it
you tell
was
this story to the next person, I just want you to own Valentine's Day and then we'll say how bad we are. Just
no.
own the Valentine because your remorse sounded honest until you were like, well, It was
Well,
Valentine's Day.
that was just that happened to be when I saw just the full meltdown of this poor man happening, and I just went, "You know what, I don't think this is gonna work. I think that we're good." Because this entire time, I knew it wasn't going to work. I was still so
Yeah,
upset about the way I had been treated early on because I didn't
yeah,
like the idea that I was playing second fiddle to anybody. In my head, I was like, "Damn it, I am an important person," not like, you know, important. I just meant like I am a human being and I wanna be
yeah,
treated as a human being and not like, "Well, since my first choice didn't work out, now I'm cool to hang out with you."
yeah,
So, I was so upset by it. This is what I did, and then it ended, and that was fine, and we still, Ishi kind of stayed friends. I mean, we're still friends on Facebook, and every now and then, hey, like each other's posts. I'm telling you, I do this all the time. I don't understand it, but these are these poor choices. When I look back at what I could have done and
yeah,
how easy it would have been to just go, "You know what? This is clearly not someone that I should be with.
right.
I'm not gonna waste time."
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, instead, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna actually waste an assload of time
Oh my god.
just to get revenge on this person."
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible.
I mean, I did it. I was in a relationship with like almost 3 years with someone, and then he left me for his dental hygienist. And then clearly they weren't doing well because I got a random text message like 8 months later after he had like moved out of the apartment, everything. And he was like, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." And for a split second, my heart was like, "Oh, I miss you and I love you." But like, we never liked each other. We were just compatible at Scrabble. Like, we never liked each other at all, ever.
Mm.
And so we were super volatile. We were awful to each other. Awful. I know I keep saying that, but it's really hitting it home. And so he asked me to go to dinner with him. And so we went to dinner and I ordered 4 glasses of wine and only drank like 3 sips out of each glass, but then asked for another one. And the waitress, I think, knew what I was doing. And so she just kept bringing them. And then I ordered like the most expensive thing on the menu. And when it came to me, I was like, "Oh, I don't like it." No, don't tell her that I don't like it. That's bad. I don't want to make her day sad. And then I was like, "Oh, my DVD player is broken." And he had literally that day just bought like a brand new gaming console and he gave them to me. He gave it to me and he was like, "Well, you can borrow it for a couple days until you get a new one." And I was like, "Oh my god, thank you. Thank you." And then he stayed at my house, but I made him sleep on the floor because I was like, "No, you can't be in my bed. I want you here, but you can't be in my bed because that's too much like how it used to be." And so he slept on my floor. And then I kept the gaming console and gave it to the next guy I was hooking up with because I didn't need it.
I can't get mad at you at that one. He
You know what?
left you.
Yeah,
He
and
left
he's
you, and then was
married.
clearly what? Was he cheating on the dental hygienist when he reached out to you?
100%. So he told me that they had broken up, but literally there was a baby announcement like maybe 4 or 5 weeks later.
Yeah, no, he
So
deserved every
and
glass of wine, every
he's
expensive
still
meal.
married to her. He's still married and now they have babies. So like good for them, I guess. No, and like they were way more compatible. Like he always wanted like blonde hair, blue-eyed. He was very much like a superficial being and I was a very deep being. And he had like a swimmer's body no matter what he did, always had a six pack and like I'd rather have like a belly. You know, that's my ideal body type for a dude is like dad bod. And
Mhm.
then women, I just love women. Any way you look, I'm like, delicious, scrumptious, so yummy. Like, I don't even care, you know? They are better off together. The nicest thing he ever did for me was leave because we never would have. Like, we just always went back and forth all the time. But yeah, so
Well, really, so today, the ultimate, like the moral of the story, everybody, is that you have to take every opportunity to make up for all of the shitty things you did as a young person because
mm,
we all did super shitty things
mhm,
as a young person. So take every opportunity that you can to do something nice for someone else
yeah,
because you don't know if that person next to you is currently the victim of one of these terrible decisions that
right.
someone else was making. And you just being a kind human to them right now might be helping them out.
Mm, that is super nice. I like that. Well, and also don't punish your true partner for who you are and what you had in a past relationship. Like
Love that.
there have been a couple times in my marriage where And even now, 5 years in of our relationship, I am able now to recognize my bad behavior far more than I ever used to. I was really quick to always do the, well, I do this because you. And I don't do that anymore as much because I'm aware of it, right? He would be a really good guy, and I'd be like, what the fuck did you do? What are you doing? What did you do that makes you want to do this? Like, he couldn't even be good to me without me being like, oh, what is that? Or he would disagree with me, and so I was like, oh, we're in a full-blown fight. All right, let's fight. And he's like, no, I don't want to fight. I just want to communicate. There were many times where I accidentally punished him because of who I used to be and what I used to have. And like, don't do that, because I have had quite a few reasons in my lifetime to build a wall and to decide that I do not trust men, no matter their position, whether it's a friend, a doctor, a parent, it didn't matter. My trust for men is far lower than it is for women. And I always knew that my husband was a good man. But I think so lowly, unfortunately, of most men, not all men, I'm aware, that him being a good man did not actually, it was not an accurate representation. Like, he is truly good. He is good to his core. And I think a lot of times in our relationship, when I was like, oh, you don't this, or you're not giving, or this, that, and the other thing, it's because he was doing the right thing. He was doing the good thing. And I didn't like it. Over time, if you allow your person to do the right thing and the good thing, it's so much safer, right? But I think you do have to kiss those frogs. I think you do have to have, I'm sorry, I think everybody should have at least one night stand. Just one. I think everybody should be a douchebag. I think everybody, this is going to be terrible and no one will like this, but I think you should be the other person. And not knowingly, but like once you get out of the situation, you're like, what the fuck? You have a person? You dick? Like, learning how all of those dynamics work so you can bring all of that wisdom into a relationship, I think is really important. Because then you get to like grow and heal together. And that's so much cooler than like being a finished product and expecting people to like just mold around you. That's my take. Ooh, that was vulnerable,
I
but good.
love that, Carly.
Oh my gosh,
Aw.
thanks.
There's literally nothing to add at that point, except for people to know. Hopefully, this helps you all realize that no matter what is going on, what you're in the middle of, what you've done, or what you are soon to do, you know what? We're all fine. So, on that note, we would love to encourage you to check out YouTube, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, and also check out our special episodes that we are releasing for limited time, Spooky Saturdays, where you can hear some just weird human stories, paranormal,
weird shit.
Our very first episode that came out this last Saturday was on creepy dolls, so there's some fun stuff there. If you have not heard it, go back and check it out. And as ever, you can get a hold of us, Gmail, We're All Fine Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Thank you, everybody. We hope you guys have a great week. We love you.
Bye.